Have you ever felt silent in English? You know the words, you studied the rules, you watched the movies, but when it is time to speak, your mouth does not move. Your brain is full, but your voice is empty. And then you feel broken. You feel like maybe English is not for you. But listen to me carefully. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are not weak. You are simply starting in the wrong place. Because fluency does not begin in the mouth. Fluency begins in thought. Your thoughts are the invisible place where English is born. If you think in your native language and try to translate, you will always feel heavy, slow, unsure. But if you train yourself to think directly in English, even simple English, the words will come naturally. It will feel like water flowing instead of rocks falling. And this is what I want to show you in this story. How to plant English not only in your voice, but in your mind, in your heart, in your daily life, until it becomes part of who you are. So let's take the first small step together. Imagine you wake up in the morning. For most of your life, your first thoughts have been in your native language. It is automatic. But what if you decide today to make your first thought in English? It does not need to be big. Just 5 short sentences. Good morning. I feel sleepy. The sun is here. Today will be good. I will speak English. These words may look simple, but they are seeds. When you start your day like this, your brain begins to accept English as natural, as normal, as safe. And the more your brain accepts it, the easier it becomes to speak. Think of a child. A baby does not learn by studying grammar. A baby listens, feels, repeats small sounds, and slowly those sounds become thoughts. You can do the same. You are not too old. You are not too late. You can be like the child again, planting thoughts in English until they grow. Do not wait until you feel ready. Begin with what you have. Begin with what is small. And as you walk through your day, do not let the seed die. When you brush your teeth, whisper, I am brushing. When you drink water, whisper, I am drinking. Every thought you connect with English is like a drop of water for the seed. And the seed will not stay hidden forever. The seed inside you begins very small, almost invisible. At first you might not even notice it. You speak 1 or 2 words in your head. You whisper a short sentence to yourself, and then you forget. But even the smallest seed, when watered again and again, grows into something strong. That is how fluency grows too. Not in one day, not in 1 week, but slowly, silently, inside your mind. The mistake many people make is thinking fluency is something outside of them. They believe fluency is in the textbook, or in the teacher, or in the perfect country where everyone speaks English. But fluency is not in those places. Fluency is in you. It is in the way you think, the way you choose your words, the way you bring English into your silent world. If you train your thoughts, your mouth will follow. If you do not train your thoughts, your mouth will always hesitate. Let me tell you a story. Imagine a boy who wants to play the guitar. He buys the best guitar in the shop. He watches lessons on YouTube. He memorizes the names of the strings. But every time he touches the guitar, he feels nervous. His fingers do not know where to go. One day his teacher says, close your eyes. Imagine your fingers playing the strings. Imagine the sound. Do it again and again in your mind. The boy begins to practice without touching the guitar, only in thought. Weeks later, when he finally plays, his fingers move with more confidence. Why? Because his thoughts were already practicing. His mind played before his hands did. This is what happens when you think in English. You are practicing before speaking. You are building invisible strength. Every time you say in your head, I am walking, you are training your tongue without moving it. Every time you think, this tea is hot, you are programming your brain to connect feelings with English words. Soon the connection becomes natural. Your thoughts and your mouth become one. You may say, "But my thoughts are too fast. I cannot control them." That is true at first. Your native language has lived inside you for many years. It is fast, strong, automatic. English is still soft, weak, new. But do not be afraid. Every new path begins as grass. With every step you take, the grass becomes a road. Your thoughts in English are the same. They may be weak now, but if you return again and again, they will become strong roads in your mind. There will be days when you forget. You will wake up and the first thought is in your native language. Do not feel guilty. Do not say, "I failed." Just begin again. Whisper a sentence. Whisper two. You are not late. You are still growing. Remember, fluency is not a race. Fluency is a garden. Some flowers open quickly, some open slowly, but all open when they are cared for. So as you move through your day, choose English for the small things. When you open the window, say inside your head, "The air is fresh." When you look at the clock, think, "It is 9 o'clock." When you feel hungry, think, "I need food." These are not difficult sentences. They are short, clear, easy. But they are powerful because they connect life to language. And when life and language are connected, fluency grows naturally. At night, before you sleep, return to the seed. Do not let the day end in silence. Close your eyes, and in English tell yourself one memory from the day. It can be very small. Today I walked to the shop. I bought bread. The bread was warm. I came home. I ate it. It may feel too simple, but it is exactly what your brain needs. You are training it to end the day in English, just as you began it in English. You are surrounding your thoughts from morning to night, and in this quiet training, fluency begins to take root. At first, the seed is fragile. A small wind of doubt can shake it. A little rain of fear can make it bend. You might think, "This is too hard. I am too old. My brain is too slow." But remember this truth. The seed does not need to be strong in the beginning. It only needs protection. It needs your care, your patience, your belief. And with time, the weak seed becomes a tree that no storm can break. When you choose to think in English, you are protecting that seed. Every small sentence you repeat in your head is like giving water. Every moment you stop yourself from translating is like giving sunlight. Your brain learns through repetition. The more you repeat the same thought, the easier it becomes. At first you must force it. Later, it happens by itself. Just like walking. When you were a baby, you had to fight for every step. Now you walk without thinking. That is how English thoughts will grow. First with effort, then with freedom. Think of a woman learning to ride a bicycle. On the first day, she falls many times. She feels embarrassed. People laugh at her. But she gets up, holds the bicycle again, and tries once more. Her body shakes. Her heart beats fast. But she does not stop. Day after day she returns. And one day something magical happens. She no longer thinks about balance. She no longer worries about falling. Her body remembers. It becomes automatic. And she smiles because she is finally free. Your English thoughts will be like this. At first they shake. At first they feel strange. But soon they will carry you without effort. You may wonder why this matters so much. Why must fluency begin in thought? Because the mind is the leader and the mouth is the follower. If the mind speaks clearly, the mouth follows. If the mind hesitates, the mouth is silent. You already know this feeling. You stand in front of someone, wanting to speak. Your brain is busy translating. By the time you find the right word, the moment is gone. You smile nervously, but inside you feel small. This pain does not mean you are stupid. It only means your thoughts are still in another language. You are trying to pull words across a bridge. But the bridge is slow, weak, and full of holes. If you build your thoughts directly in English, the bridge disappears. The words flow like water. So how can you protect this growing seed? By making English part of your quiet moments. Not just in study time. Not just in the classroom. In the silent spaces of your day. When you wait for the bus, instead of scrolling your phone, describe in English what you see. The bus is late. The sky is gray. A man is reading a newspaper. When you are cooking, whisper the steps in English. I am cutting the onion. I am heating the pan. The oil is hot. These are small actions, but they are powerful because they teach your brain that English belongs everywhere, not only in books. And if you forget words, do not stop. Use simple words. Use easy words. If you cannot remember refrigerator, just say big cold box. If you cannot remember umbrella, just say rain cover. Fluency is not perfection. Fluency is movement. And movement begins with thought. At night, when you lie in bed, your brain begins to replay the day. Do not let it replay only in your native language. Guide it gently. Think back in English. I worked today. I felt tired. I cooked dinner. I talked with my friend. These sentences may seem small, but they are seeds of confidence. Each one is proof that English can live inside you. And the more you believe this, the stronger the seed becomes. The days begin to change when you live like this. At first you do not notice it, because growth is quiet. But slowly you realize that English is no longer a subject you study, it is a part of you. You catch yourself thinking in English without effort. You look at the window and the word rain comes before the word in your own language. You hear a sound and your mind says, dog barking, without translation. These are small victories, but they are powerful because they show that the seed is growing roots deeper and deeper into your mind. Still, there will be moments of doubt. You may feel strong one day and weak the next. You may think in English in the morning, but return to your old habits in the evening. This is normal. Growth is never a straight line. It is like the waves of the ocean, moving forward and then back, but always rising higher. You must remember that even when the wave goes back, it is still part of the ocean. You are still moving forward even if some days feel slower. Imagine a young runner training for a marathon. The first day, he runs 1 kilometer and feels tired. The second day, he runs the same distance and feels the same pain. He thinks, I am not improving. But inside his body, something invisible is happening. His lungs are growing stronger. His legs are learning endurance. His heart is becoming steady. After weeks, he suddenly runs 5 kilometers and feels light. What changed? Not one big step, but many small steps that looked invisible at first. Your English thoughts are like this training. Day by day, word by word, sentence by sentence, you are building a mind that can run freely in English. One of the most important things you can do is remove the fear of mistakes from your thoughts. Fear is like a shadow that covers the seed. It blocks the sunlight. If you allow fear to stay, the seed cannot grow. Many learners tell themselves silent lies. If I speak, people will laugh. If I make a mistake, I will look stupid. If I try, I will fail. These are not truths. They are fears. And fears are only thoughts. If you can change your thoughts, you can change your fear. Instead of thinking, I will fail, think, I am learning. Instead of thinking, I sound stupid, think, I am growing. These new thoughts are sunlight. They give energy to your seed. When you walk in the street and you hear English words, do not tell yourself, I do not understand. Tell yourself, I am training my ears. When you try to speak and someone does not understand, do not think, I am bad. Think, this is my practice. The mind listens to your words. If you tell it you are weak, it becomes weak. If you tell it you are strong, it becomes strong. This is the hidden power of thought. And there is another secret. When you begin to think in English, you begin to feel in English too. At first it is only small. You see a cat and you smile, and the word cute rises naturally in your mind. You drop your glass of water and your thought is, oh no, instead of your native language. Slowly the emotions inside you connect to English words. And when your emotions and your thoughts are connected, speaking becomes natural. You are no longer translating feelings. You are living them directly in English. So do not rush. Do not demand perfection. Every time you choose English in your thoughts, you are moving closer to fluency. Every time you replace fear with a simple sentence, you are building strength. It may not look like much, but the roots are deepening. The tree is preparing to rise. And one day, without warning, you will open your mouth and the words will come like breath, because they were already alive in your thoughts. When your thoughts begin to carry English, the world around you changes its color. The same street, the same bus, the same kitchen becomes a new classroom. You start to notice details you never cared about before, because now each detail is a chance to think in English. The old chair in your room is no longer just furniture. In your mind you say, this chair is broken. The cup in your hand is no longer just a tool. You think, this cup is warm. These are simple sentences, but they are alive because they connect directly to your eyes, your hands, your feelings. You may wonder if such small thoughts really matter. But the truth is, small thoughts repeated daily become strong habits. Habits are the soil in which fluency grows. A person does not suddenly become fluent by one big action, just as a tree does not suddenly appear after one day of rain. It grows drop by drop, day by day. The same is true with you. Every sentence you whisper to yourself, every word you think silently, becomes another drop of water for your tree. Sometimes you will catch yourself thinking in your native language again. Do not be angry with yourself. Simply notice and return. This is the discipline of the mind. Like meditation, you guide your thoughts back gently. You do not punish yourself. You simply say, no, I choose English now. Each time you bring your thoughts back, you are training your brain like a muscle. Muscles grow through repetition. So does fluency. Let me tell you a small story. There was a man who wanted to build strength in his arms. Every morning, he lifted a small stone. At first it seemed foolish. The stone was too light. It did not look like exercise. But he lifted it again and again. Weeks passed, then months. His arms grew stronger, not because the stone was heavy, but because he repeated the action without fail. One day, he was able to lift something much heavier because his strength had been built quietly over time. Thinking in English works the same way. Each small sentence may feel too light, too easy, but with repetition, your mental strength grows. Soon you will handle bigger thoughts with ease. There is also a kind of joy that comes when English becomes part of your thoughts. At first it feels like work, but later it feels like play. You notice yourself describing a scene in your head just because you enjoy it. You say, the clouds are soft today, or that child is running fast. These thoughts do not feel forced anymore. They feel like a new game your brain enjoys. And in this playful state, fluency grows even faster because joy removes fear. Of course, there will be days when you feel tired, days when you want silence, days when your mind resists. That is normal. On those days, do not push too hard. Instead, choose one very small action. Think one English word, one English phrase. Even a tiny step keeps the habit alive. Remember, it is not about perfection. It is about persistence. A garden does not need a storm of rain each day. It only needs drops that never stop coming. The more you train your thoughts like this, the more natural it becomes to live inside English. Your world does not change outside, but inside you are building a new home. A home where English is not a guest, but a family member. It is no longer a stranger you invite for a lesson. It is the voice you hear when you look at the sky, when you drink your tea, when you lie down to sleep. And that voice, quiet at first, begins to grow louder, stronger, and more confident with every passing day. When English becomes the quiet voice in your head, something interesting begins to happen. The silence that once felt heavy starts to feel alive. Before, silence was only empty, full of doubts and fears. Now, silence is full of small English sentences flowing softly, almost like a river under the surface. You are no longer afraid of silence because silence has become your secret classroom. Think about waiting in line at the supermarket. Before, you looked at your phone, feeling bored, maybe impatient. But now you notice the bread on the shelf and you think, the bread is fresh. You look at the person in front of you and you whisper inside, she has a red bag. You hear a child crying and the words appear in your mind. The baby is tired. Suddenly the waiting time is not wasted anymore. It is practice. You are turning every ordinary moment into a lesson without effort, without stress. And this new habit slowly builds confidence. Confidence does not appear from reading more rules or memorizing more vocabulary lists. Confidence grows when your thoughts and your life connect. If you can describe your world in English in your mind, then you can describe it to another person with your voice. It is the same process, only louder. This is why thought is the true beginning of fluency. It creates a safe space where you can practice without judgment, without pressure, until the words feel natural. Imagine a boy who wants to dance, but is too shy to move in front of people. Every night he goes to his room, locks the door, and practices in front of the mirror. His steps are small, sometimes awkward, but he repeats them until his body remembers. One day, when music plays at a party, he surprises himself. His body moves without fear because the practice in silence gave him freedom. Your English is like that dance. The private practice in your thoughts prepares you for the music of real conversation. You may notice another change too. As you think in English, your emotions begin to travel with the language. Anger comes with the word angry. Joy comes with the word happy. Sadness comes with the word tired. The words are no longer empty. They are connected to your feelings. And this is powerful because language without emotion is dry. But language with emotion is alive. When you feel the words, they become easier to remember, easier to speak, easier to share. Some people worry that they will lose their native language if they think too much in English. But this is not true. A new tree does not kill the old tree. It only grows beside it. You are not losing yourself. You are expanding yourself. You are becoming someone who can live in two worlds, think in two voices, understand two realities. That is not loss. That is growth. There will be days when the old voice, your native language, feels stronger. Do not fight it. Simply guide it gently, like a parent guiding a child back to the path. If the child runs away, you do not shout. You take their hand and return. In the same way, when your mind slips back into your old language, you do not punish yourself. You simply say, come back. We are thinking in English now. This gentle guidance, done many times, creates a habit so strong it no longer needs effort. And then English is no longer a task. It becomes a companion. It walks with you when you cook, when you travel, when you wait, when you rest. It does not demand perfect grammar. It does not demand long speeches. It only asks for presence. And when you give it that presence, it rewards you with fluency, slowly, quietly, but surely. As English begins to walk with you, it starts to change how you see the world. The same street where you once passed without noticing becomes full of detail, because every detail is now a chance to think. A tree is no longer just green and silent. In your head, you say, the tree is tall. The leaves are moving. A stranger walks quickly past you, and you think, he is late. Even your own feelings become more clear. When you feel nervous, the words rise. I am nervous. When you feel proud, you think, I did it. And slowly, your mind becomes a mirror of your life in English. This mirror is important because it teaches you truth. Many learners believe they cannot speak because they lack grammar or they lack vocabulary. But the real reason is often that they do not yet see their world through English eyes. When you see in English, when you feel in English, when you think in English, speaking is only the natural next step. The mirror of thought prepares the voice. Think of an artist. Before he paints, he first imagines. He sees colors in his mind. He sees the shape of the mountain, the face of the child, the shadow of the tree. The painting already lives inside his thoughts before it appears on the canvas. Your English is like that. The conversation must first live in your thoughts. Only then will it flow onto your tongue. If you have no image inside, the canvas stays empty. If you have no thought in English, your mouth stays closed. Sometimes, when you think in English, you will notice mistakes. You might say in your head, he go to school, instead of he goes to school. At first this may worry you. You may think, I am training myself wrong. But do not fear. Mistakes in thought are not dangerous. In fact, they are necessary. They show that you are practicing, that you are daring to build sentences. Over time, as you listen more, as you read more, your brain will correct itself. Just like a child who first says foots and later learns to say feet, your mind will grow stronger naturally. The key is not to stop. The key is to keep the river flowing, even if the water is not perfect. And you will begin to notice something surprising. Your thoughts become shorter, cleaner, lighter. In your native language, you may think long, complicated sentences. But in English, your mind learns to be simple. I am tired. I want tea. The bus is late. This simplicity is not weakness. It is strength. It gives you clarity. It removes confusion. And later, when you want to grow more complex, you will build naturally on this strong foundation. Let me give you another picture. Imagine carrying a heavy bag of stones every day. You walk slowly. You feel tired. You cannot run. Then one day you put the bag down. Suddenly your steps are light. You can breathe freely. You can move with speed. Thinking in English is like putting down the bag. Translation is heavy. It slows you. Direct thought in English is light. It frees you. That freedom is the first true taste of fluency. And with that freedom comes courage. You no longer fear the moment someone speaks to you in English, because you have already been speaking to yourself all day. You no longer freeze, because your thoughts are already warm with practice. You no longer doubt, because you know the words exist inside you, ready to rise. And each time you feel this courage, the roots of your English tree grow even deeper into the soil of your mind. The courage that grows inside you is quiet at first, almost invisible. It shows itself in small ways. You answer a simple question faster than before. You greet someone without hesitation. You catch a phrase in a movie that once passed too quickly. These moments may feel small to others, but inside they feel powerful, because you know they come from a deeper change. You are no longer only studying English, you are living it in your mind. This quiet courage is important because it teaches you trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in your brain. Trust in the process. For years you may have thought, I need to memorize more. I need to prepare more. I need to be perfect before I speak. But fluency is not about being perfect. It is about being present. And presence comes when your thoughts are already in English. Then you do not wait. You do not prepare. You simply speak the thought that is already alive inside you. Think of a singer who hums softly before walking on stage. The audience does not hear that hum, but it prepares the voice. By the time the spotlight shines, the song is already warm. Your English thoughts are that quiet hum. They prepare your voice so that when the real moment comes, you are ready without forcing yourself. There will be times when you feel the old habits returning. You may sit with friends and realize you are thinking in your native language again. You may watch a film and feel lost in the speed of the words. Do not see this as failure. See it as training. Every time you guide your mind back to English, you are strengthening it. Muscles are not built by lifting one heavy weight once. They are built by lifting again and again. Each return to English is another lift, another step toward strength. And strength shows itself not only in words, but in emotions. When you are tired and you think, I need rest, you are calming yourself. When you are happy and you say in your mind, this is beautiful, you are celebrating in English. When you are angry and you whisper to yourself, I feel angry, you are managing your feelings with English. This is a deeper fluency, not just with language, but with life. You are learning to carry your emotions in another tongue, and that makes you both stronger and freer. Some learners worry that their English thoughts are too simple. They say, I only think in short sentences. Is that enough? The answer is yes. Simplicity is the doorway. Even great writers begin with small words. Even great thinkers begin with short thoughts. The important thing is not the size of the sentence, but the habit of using it. A single drop of water repeated every day can shape stone. A single simple thought repeated every day can shape fluency. And slowly, the drops collect. You notice that when you speak, your sentences come faster. You notice that your pauses are shorter. You notice that people understand you more easily. And inside, you know why. It is because the work was already done in silence. The words were practiced and thought long before they were spoken aloud. So you continue. You keep watering the seed. You keep guiding your thoughts. You keep trusting the process. And though the outside world may not see all the effort, you feel it. You feel the tree inside you becoming stronger, the roots gripping deeper, the branches reaching higher. And this feeling itself is proof that you are changing, that fluency is no longer a dream far away, but a reality growing quietly inside your mind. The growth inside you becomes easier to notice when you face situations that once felt impossible. Before, a simple conversation was enough to make your hands sweat and your voice shake. Now, when someone asks you, how are you? The answer comes without a fight. You do not freeze. You do not translate. You simply speak the thought that is already waiting in English. This is the gift of training your mind. The moment no longer feels like a test. It feels like a continuation of what you were already doing silently. But confidence does not arrive all at once. It grows like the morning light, first a faint glow, then a brighter shine. At times you will still hesitate. At times you will forget a word. But hesitation is no longer silence. It is only a pause. Forgetting a word is no longer failure. It is only a chance to choose another. You begin to understand that fluency is not about never stopping. It is about never giving up. Imagine a painter standing in front of a canvas. He dips his brush in blue paint, but the line is not perfect. Instead of throwing the canvas away, He adds green, then yellow, and slowly a picture appears. The mistakes become part of the art. Your English will be like that painting. Each broken sentence, each missing word, each pause becomes part of your story. And when you see it this way, the fear of mistakes loses its power. As your fear becomes weaker, curiosity becomes stronger. You begin to notice the rhythm of English around you. The way people greet each other quickly, the way questions rise at the end of a sentence, the way laughter often follows short, simple words. You start to copy these rhythms in your thoughts. You whisper them to yourself as if you were playing music. Really? That's funny. I don't know. These small phrases become your instruments, and soon you hear yourself using them without effort. There is also a change in the way you listen. Before, listening felt like a storm of sounds crashing into you. You caught one word, then lost three, then gave up. But now, because you are already thinking in English, your ears are not strangers anymore. They are friends. You recognize patterns, you notice familiar words, you understand more than before. And even when you do not understand everything, you do not panic. You remind yourself, I am learning. This calmness allows you to hear even more. And with listening comes connection. You realize that language is not only about speaking, it is about sharing. When you understand a simple joke, when you follow a short story, when you answer without delay, you feel the bridge between yourself and another person becoming stronger. And that feeling, the feeling of connection, is worth every moment of silent practice. It proves to you that your effort is not only building words, it is building relationships, and relationships give meaning to language. The more you connect, the more your mind opens. You begin to notice beauty in simple things. A child saying hello, a shopkeeper asking paper or plastic, a stranger saying, have a nice day. These words no longer pass you by, they stay with you. You repeat them in your thoughts. You use them yourself. And each time you do, the tree inside you grows taller, its branches reaching toward the open sky of fluency. With every branch that grows, your world begins to feel lighter. You no longer carry the same weight of fear when you see English written on a sign or hear it spoken quickly on the street. Instead of shrinking inside, you lean closer, curious to catch another word, another phrase. This curiosity is a sign that the tree of fluency is strong enough to face the wind. Where once there was hesitation, now there is hunger. This hunger leads you to notice things you never noticed before. A short line in a movie suddenly makes sense. A phrase on a package in the store no longer feels like a mystery. Even the instructions on a machine or the lyrics of a song whisper to you with more clarity. Each discovery feels like a small treasure. And when you think about it, these treasures were always there. The only change is that now your thoughts are ready to receive them. And your thoughts do something more. They begin to move faster. In the past, you felt like your brain was a slow machine, searching for the right word, loading sentence after sentence with long delays. But as you practice thinking in English daily, the gears turn smoothly. Sentences form more quickly. You start finishing your own thoughts before you realize it. The machine is no longer slow. It is alive, efficient, even playful. Think of a river that was once blocked by stones. The water tried to flow but always got stuck, always turned back. Over time, the stones were moved, one by one. At first the water was weak, but then it grew stronger. Now the river runs without stopping, carrying everything with it. This is how your thoughts feel when English begins to flow. The blocks of fear and translation are gone, and what remains is movement, energy, freedom. And in this freedom, you notice something important. You do not need to know everything to speak. You only need to know enough to express what is true for you in the moment. If you cannot remember delicious, you say very good. If you cannot remember exhausted, you say very tired. Your meaning still arrives. Your voice is still heard. This simplicity is power because it teaches you that fluency is not about big words. It is about brave words. Words that leave your mind and enter the world without fear. And each time you speak like this, even in small ways, you feel the tree inside you stretching higher, reaching more light. You realize the seed you planted with simple morning thoughts has become something real, something strong, something that will continue to grow as long as you feed it. And this realization gives you calm, because you finally understand that fluency is not a future dream. It is already alive within you, growing quietly each day you choose to think in English. Calm becomes your new strength. Before, every conversation felt like a mountain. You stood at the bottom, looking up, afraid of how high it was. Now the mountain does not frighten you, because you have learned to take one step at a time. Each step is one thought, one word, one small sentence. And when you look back, you see how far you have already climbed. This calm changes your body too. You notice that your shoulders are not so tight when someone speaks to you. Your breathing is slower, your voice steadier. This is because your thoughts are no longer fighting. They are not rushing to translate, not panicking to find the right form. They are clear, simple, direct. And when the mind is calm, the body follows. Think about water. When the surface is rough, it reflects nothing. You cannot see your face, you cannot see the sky. But when the water is calm, it becomes a mirror. In the same way, when your mind is calm, English reflects more clearly. You can see the words you need. You can feel the rhythm of the language. You can trust the silence between sentences because you know the next thought will arrive. This trust allows you to experiment more. You begin to play with words, trying new expressions, even if they are not perfect. You might say, I go yesterday instead of I went yesterday, but you do not stop. You laugh. You continue. You keep the conversation alive. And often the person in front of you still understands, still responds, still connects. This shows you that communication is not destroyed by mistakes. It is built by courage. And with each new attempt, your vocabulary grows naturally. Not because you forced yourself to memorize, but because the words came with meaning, with use, with emotion. The word hungry stays in your memory not because you wrote it 10 times in a notebook, but because you thought it every evening before dinner. The phrase, I don't know, sticks because you said it honestly during a real talk. Words learned this way do not leave you, because they are tied to your life. You also begin to notice patterns. The same words appear again and again in your thoughts. Want, need, go, come, good, bad, today, tomorrow. You realize that fluency is not about thousands of rare words. It is about hundreds of useful ones. And you already carry many of them. This realization removes pressure. You do not need to climb the whole mountain in one day. You only need to use what you have, again and again, until it becomes natural. And natural is the key, because fluency is not a performance, it is not a test. It is life. It is the way you order food, the way you greet a friend, the way you describe the sky. When you see fluency this way, you stop chasing perfection. You start enjoying the journey. And in this joy, your tree grows faster, because joy is the sunlight that every seed desires. Joy gives energy that no textbook can provide. When you begin to smile at your own thoughts in English, you know the language is no longer a stranger. You look at a bird flying and whisper inside, it is free. and you feel a small happiness. You hear laughter from another room, and the thought comes, they are having fun, and you feel part of the moment. These little sparks of joy prove that English is now woven into your daily emotions, not just your studies. And when joy is present, learning feels lighter. You no longer count the hours or measure the progress with fear. You do not say, I have to practice. You say, I get to practice. The difference is small in words, but big in feeling. One comes from pressure, the other from freedom. And freedom is the space where true fluency grows. Imagine a child playing with blocks. He builds a tower, it falls, he laughs, he builds again. He does not judge himself, he does not give up, he simply enjoys the process. And because of this joy, he learns faster, his hands become quicker, his imagination stronger. You are the same with English. When you treat your thoughts like play instead of punishment, your growth becomes natural, unstoppable, even fun. This playfulness also makes you brave. You try new sentences without fear of looking foolish. You mix old words in new ways. Sometimes it sounds strange, sometimes it sounds right, but always it brings progress. You learn by doing, not by waiting. And each brave attempt becomes a new branch on your tree. As the branches grow, you notice more light coming through. Your mind feels open, not closed. You find yourself curious about new words, about new ways to express feelings. You no longer avoid English content because it feels too hard. You welcome it. You listen to songs, you read short articles, you watch videos, not with panic, but with interest. And even when you understand only half, you still feel proud, because you are feeding your tree with real sunlight. And pride is important, not the kind that makes you arrogant, but the kind that makes you grateful. You look back at the days when you could not even form a simple thought in English, and now you see yourself describing your life, your feelings, your world. This memory of progress becomes your fuel. It tells you, if I came this far, I can go further. And that belief itself is a new root, stronger and deeper than before. The roots, the trunk, the branches, the leaves, each part of your tree is now working together. It no longer looks like a seed. It no longer feels fragile. It feels alive, steady, growing. And in that steady growth, you discover something unexpected. English is no longer only a tool. It is a companion, a friend that walks with you, thinks with you, and grows with you through each passing day. A companion changes the way you travel through life. Alone, every journey feels longer, every step feels heavier. But with a companion beside you, the path feels lighter, the time feels shorter, the distance feels possible. English has become this kind of companion in your mind. It walks with you quietly, not demanding attention, not asking for perfection, only reminding you that you are not alone in your effort. You notice this companionship most in the ordinary moments. When you wake up, the first gentle thought comes in English. When you walk down the street, a phrase rises naturally. When you lie in bed, you replay the day in simple sentences. None of these actions feel forced anymore. They feel like breathing. And because of that, you feel safe with the language. Safety is important because the mind learns best when it feels secure. Fear blocks memory. Comfort opens it. Now, with English as a trusted friend, your mind is more open than ever. Think of a person learning to swim. At first they panic in the water, moving their arms wildly, gasping for breath. But then they find rhythm. They trust the water to hold them. They stop fighting, and suddenly they float. Learning English through thought is the same. When you stop fighting with fear, when you stop demanding perfection, you begin to float. Your thoughts carry you, your sentences hold you, and you realize you are not drowning. you are swimming. And when you swim long enough, you start to enjoy the water. What once felt dangerous now feels refreshing. In the same way, conversations that once filled you with anxiety now bring excitement. Each talk becomes an opportunity, not a threat. Each word is a chance to connect, not a chance to fail. And in this new mindset, your progress accelerates, because joy always teaches faster than fear. The people around you begin to notice too. They hear you answer without long pauses. They see your eyes focus with more confidence. They sense that English is no longer something you borrow, but something you own. And their reactions, smiles, nods, understanding, give you even more strength. Language is meant to be shared, and when you share it, you multiply the growth inside you. There will still be mistakes, of course, but now they no longer hurt you. They are simply part of the process, like scratches on the bark of a tree. The tree does not stop growing because of a scratch. It continues upward, reaching for light. You continue the same way, growing stronger, taller, freer with each passing day. And in those quiet moments when you look back, you see the journey clearly. From silence to simple thoughts, from simple thoughts to flowing sentences, from hesitation to courage, from fear to companionship. The path was never easy, but it was always possible. And the tree that now stands tall inside you is the proof that fluency was not given to you by chance. It was grown, patiently, through thought after thought, day after day. The tall tree inside you now begins to give shade. At first, all of your energy went into growing roots, building strength, surviving storms. But as the trunk thickened and the branches spread, the tree began to offer something more. It offers rest. It offers peace. It offers a place where you can sit beneath it and feel safe. This is what English has become in your mind, a place of rest rather than a place of stress. You no longer chase it with fear. You no longer run from it with shame. Instead, you sit with it quietly and let it be part of your daily life. You use it to describe the morning sky, to whisper your feelings, to replay the conversations of the day. And in this rest, you realize something powerful. English is no longer only about communication. It is about identity. It is part of who you are becoming. This sense of identity makes you stronger than before. When someone asks you to introduce yourself, you no longer panic. You do not prepare long speeches. You simply speak the thoughts that already live inside you. My name is, I am from, I like. These sentences are not memorized lines. They are living truths, carried from your mind to your mouth. And because they are true, they carry confidence. Think of a traveler who once carried a heavy map everywhere he went. He studied the map before each step, afraid to get lost. But one day, after many journeys, he no longer needs the map. The roads live inside him. He knows the turns. He trusts his memory. He feels free to explore. That is what has happened to you. The translation map you once depended on has been set aside. The roads of English now live inside you, and you can travel them without fear. And with this freedom comes generosity. You find yourself wanting to share what you have learned with others. Maybe you encourage a friend who feels afraid. Maybe you help a child with a simple word. Maybe you simply smile when someone struggles, because you remember the struggle yourself. This generosity is the fruit of your tree. It shows that you have grown enough not only to feed yourself, but also to give something back. Even in your private moments, the fruit is sweet. When you write a short note, when you think of a future dream, when you repeat a sentence in the mirror, you feel proud. Not the pride of perfection, but the pride of persistence. You know how many days it took, how many times you returned after forgetting, how many moments you doubted yourself. And still, you continued. That continuation itself is your victory. And so the tree stands tall, its roots deep, its branches wide, its shade comforting, its fruit ready to be shared. English is no longer far away. It is here, alive in your thoughts, present in your life, steady in your heart. And every time you close your eyes and think a simple sentence, you know the journey was worth it. The journey that began with a fragile seed now stands before you as a living tree. It is not just strong, it is beautiful, because every moment of fear, every small effort, every whispered sentence became part of its growth. The doubts were the rain, the struggles were the storms, the patience was the sunlight, and all of it worked together to make this tree what it is today, a symbol of your fluency, a reminder of your strength. You can feel the change in the way you move through life. Where once you avoided English, now you welcome it. Where once your thoughts were locked in translation, now they flow freely. Where once your voice trembled, now it carries steady words. This is not the result of luck. This is the result of persistence. You stayed with the seed, you watered it daily, and now you live beneath the shade of your own effort. Think of a garden filled with many trees. Some people never plant at all. They wait for someone else to bring fruit to them. Others plant once, but forget to water. Their seed never rises. But you chose to plant, to water, to wait, to believe. And because of that, you can now sit under your tree and taste its fruit. That fruit is not only language. It is confidence, patience, courage. It is the quiet knowledge that you can grow anything if you give it care and time. And now, when you speak, you do not only share words. You share your journey. Each sentence you say carries the memory of the effort behind it. Each phrase is a story of persistence. Others may hear only English, but you know it is more than that. It is proof that you are capable, that you are strong, that you are becoming who you always wanted to be. So let this tree remind you that fluency is never about being perfect. It is about being alive in another language, about allowing your thoughts to breathe in English, about trusting yourself enough to keep going when it feels slow. The real victory is not in speaking fast, but in never giving up. The real fluency is not only in words, but in the courage to keep planting them, day after day. And if you ever feel doubt again, if you ever feel small, just close your eyes and return to the beginning. Whisper one simple thought in English. Let it be the seed once more. Because you already know what happens when you protect a seed. You grow a tree that can last a lifetime. I am proud of you. You did not stop. You did not let fear win. You believed in the power of thought, and through that belief, you found fluency. Carry this truth with you. You are not weak. You are not late. You are not broken. You are growing, and your growth is endless.